Let's talk about something that you will find sitting inside of every creation story that has ever been told, inside of every alchemical text that has ever been written, and inside of every human being body that was ever born, because they are not three different things. They are one process described in three different languages. And it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. So in the beginning, God said, let there be light. And there was light, simple, cosmological. The first act of creation is illumination. Now, if we zoom all the way out from the cosmos into the moment of human conception, when two cells meet at that exact moment, we've now photographed and have documented a zinc spark, a literal flash of light. So the body says the same thing that the universe said, let there be light and let there be life. Because as above, so below is not some spiritual concept. It is a documented biological event. Now watch what happens in both stories simultaneously. So in Genesis, the waters are separated and form begins to emerge from formlessness. In alchemy, this is dissolution. And that's the breaking down of the old so that something new can organize. Now in the embryo, the blastocyst is doing exactly this. It's dissolving its boundaries, becoming permeable, implanting and reorganizing from a single spark into a differentiated structure. But nothing is solid yet. Everything is potential, still coming into form. But then separation happens. So in Genesis, land emerges from water. And this is where distinct things appear where there was only undifferentiated mass before. And in alchemy, separation is the stage where what is real gets distinguished from what is not. Now in the embryo, this is gastrulation. Again, three distinct layers forming from one. The ectoderm then becomes your nervous system and your skin. The mesoderm becomes your muscles and blood, and the endoderm becomes your organs. One thing consciously becoming three. Sound familiar? Because it should. 1 + 1 is 3, which is something that me, myself, and I have deeply contemplated a lot. Then conjunction. This is where the parts begin to speak to each other. And in Genesis, the lights appear from in the firmament. Rhythms are established, systems enter relationship, and in the embryo, the heart begins to beat around week 5. Not because it was told to, but because the system reached the point of coherence where it can. The parts have found their relationship and the whole thing begins to pulse. Then the nervous system comes online, and this is fermentation in alchemy. But in this case, it's not decay. It's transformation into something that was not present in the other ingredients. It's new life emerging from the interaction of the existing components. Signal begins to move. Something that could not feel now can, and something that could not respond now does. Now Genesis calls this the living creatures, the first animation of life. Then we move into distillation, which is the refinement or the third trimester. And this is where systems are completing, the body being purified towards its final functional form, and every unnecessary thing is falling away, and all that remains is what is essential. And in the birth itself, coagulation, the fixed form enters the world. And what was being made, well, it's now made. Genesis calls it the 7th day, the completion where the work is finished. But this is 3 stories, one process. The universe building itself, the alchemist building itself, and the body building itself. But they're all running the same algorithm, all saying the same thing in different tongues. Because you are not separate from creation. You are doing what creation has always done, building itself into form so that it can experience itself. But this is just where we start. There's a lot more to come on this topic, but for now you can go deeper at archetype13.com and know13.co, and you can also find the deeper work which will be hit on Patreon, Archetype 13, and then I'm going to start dropping the long form videos on YouTube. So with that said, welcome to the top of the spiral.